Our next tutorial will be presented by Karishma Punwani, who is a product director for our academic market. She will show us some of the neat Maple user interface features that you might not be aware of. So please go ahead, Karishma.
Thanks, Kashka. Let me share my screen. So as Kashka mentioned, today I was asked to talk about useful interface tips, or, oh, I didn't know you could do that in Maple. So really excited to be here. I was inspired by Paul DeMarco's talk, and if you haven't heard it, you should go and take a look. It was done really, really well. And so I thought I would do this talk and really talk about the things that make my life useful, things that I really enjoy. So what you see on my screen over here, a blank document. One of the first things that I've sometimes struggled with is changing my working directory. So the way you do it, you can use current, if I was typing here, current dir, and if I close the brackets, that's my directory. If I say I want to be in the home, I can do it this way, and now I can check. So that's great. But did you know that down here in the status bar, I can click this and I can go ahead and change my working directory this way. And so here's my working directory. So now I've changed my working directory. Now, if I go into this working directory over here, you'll see that I have some Excel data. So let's say I want to bring this Excel data into my working directory, or into Maple, I should say. Now I can just do here. So let's import and then, oops. And here's the data. So this is one thing that I could do. But this can sometimes be challenging because if I want to send the Excel sheet and the document and other things to users, one of the things I have to do often is send it in separate, in an email and separate things. One of my favorite features is the workbook. And so I'm going to show it today because there's a few things that I love. And I don't know how many of you have used the workbook. If there's questions, please put it in the chat. I know a lot of the development team is here and can help. But let's say I want to use the workbook. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to go to workbook. I'm over here. This is my palette. You'll see there's the workbook. And I'm going to save this as a workbook. So let's call this conference document 3, because why not? So here's my workbook. And now what I can do is I can go ahead and attach a file. And I'm going to go ahead and attach that experimental data to my workbook. Save this. Now at this point, I could email this workbook. When you save a workbook, it saves as a .maple file, and I can email this workbook to another user and they would get everything in here. So if I put images, other data, whatever I wanted to, any Maple programs that I've written, I could keep it all over here. Another thing that I learned about recently is being able to add some images. So here I'm going to attach a file and I'm going to call it banner. So let's say I want to put a banner on my document. So now I have the banner over here. I can save this, but this is what I wanted to show you. So now I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to go to image and I'm going to click from an attachment. So it'll look at the images that I have in my workbook and I can click on my banner. So here is my banner. So I'm going to save this. Now let's say I had another document. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to put another document in this. Let's call it other document. And I'm going to go ahead and put the banner in as well. Again, go to insert image from attachment banner. So here's the banner. Let me save this. Now let's say I want to change the banner, and I want to change it in all the different places that it's used. Well, what I can do over here is if I go to the file, and I had it opened in Paint, here we go. And let's say I add this text. I'm going to save it over here. And you'll see that that is updated. Save my worksheet. Yes. Let me close this. I'm going to go back, open this, and you'll see that everything has labeled. So this is the other document. This is conference 3, and it's updated this. So this is another feature that I really like. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So something else that I wanted to show you over here is now that I have my experimental data in this worksheet, how do I bring it into Maple? So I'm going to call Excel Tools. But this time, in order to reference, oops, here we go. In order to go ahead and if I want to reference this, this Excel sheet, this time what I'm going to type is this, and that's all I have to do. I just have to say this. I don't have to put in any location. And experiment data. And here I have the data over here. So now I can go and save this. So something else I like is that worksheets can also have variables that are, and if you save those variables to the worksheet, you can use them in other documents within your, sorry, I should say not worksheet, workbook, my apologies. You can use them in other worksheets within your workbook. So let me show you an example. And this actually was, somebody really recently asked me how to do this. So now I'm going to go and let's call this A for the sake of example, and I'm going to have X, and I'll use linear algebra over here. Let's just go ahead and extract the column, the first column, 1. So here we have our vector, and let me do that for Y as well. Okay. So here we have it. Now what I can do is just click on this, right click, and you'll see it gives me the ability to save. So I can save my variables here. And then next time I open up the workbook, the variables will already be available to me. If I go to this other document, of course, I can ask for what is X, Y, it's here. And if I save this, over here, and if I close this again, I can go back. Here it is, and I can just go ahead and re-execute this, and it will know what my variables are. So this is another neat feature, and I'm showing it because users I recently spoke to did not know about it, so something that I love. Something else that I wanted to show you here. Okay, so now I have my data, X and Y. Next thing I want to show you is I'm going to create a point plot. So again, let me make this bigger. So X, Y. So I love using the context panel. I'm going to click this, and what did I do? What did I do wrong? Let me try this again, because it is a demo, so something had to go wrong. I should be able to X, Y. That didn't work as expected. Okay. Let me, because I was prepared, I'll show you my cheat sheet. So one of the things that I wanted to show is to get the point plot. And this is something users didn't know. If you click on this, somebody asked me, how do I extract the values? Again, copy and paste. You can go to probe info, And then you should be able to, what's this? Here we go. Copy the data. And I show this because it came up as a question on Maple Primes recently. So these are a few things that I wanted to show you with workbooks. Now, something else that's not tied to a workbook necessarily is I've had questions before about, and I can show it in this document. Let me bring it in here. How do you quickly remove output from a worksheet? So if I can go to over here, I always forget. Remove output from worksheet. You'll see all the output has been removed over here and some things that I wanted to show you. So here, if I wanted to put something into a section, I can go ahead and do so here. Let's say I can do the same thing here. So most people know how to do this. If I want to take it out of a section, I can go over here. But what some people don't know is that if you highlight everything and go to, I think it's edit, you can join the sections together. And of course, let me try this one more time. Let me show you something. Let me select the sections. Well, this isn't. Let me try this one more time. You should be able to join them together. The other thing I wanted to show is about equation labels. So here, let's say I create something, sine of x. Oh, because I have x already. Let's create something, sine of a. So notice here, I have an equation label. Something that I can do over here is if I go to format, I can change the equation display. So I can have section numbering over here. If at any point I want to refer to that label, I can go to expressions. Let's say I want to take the derivative over here, and I can say Control L, and I can say 2.1. And now, if I want to look at this, I can click on label and the label reference. And so it points it to me, which is really nice when you have a long worksheet and you want to refer to something that you've done previously. It's nice to be able to use the equation labels. As you've changed something, it'll automatically change. But then if you have text, you're able to show it. I see Kashka has come on, so I think that is my cue to stop. Apologies, I wasn't managing the chat, but I can answer questions afterwards. I hope you found this useful.
Yeah, just a quick question. If you know, is there an elegant way to import several data files into the same folder all at once from inside a workbook?
Oh, I don't know offhand, but I have some time. I'll try it out. Let me take a look, and if I get the answer, I'll put it into the chat.
I just tried it. You can just open a Windows Explorer folder, grab a bunch of files and drag them in to the workbook area, and then they all get attached.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Always Paul to the rescue.
Yeah.